Today is September 29th. Today's quote is entitled, "Practice Makes Perfect." If practice makes perfect, we need to be careful what we practice. We become what we practice. So if we practice anger, we get really good at it. If we practice envy, it becomes natural to be envious. Whatever good or bad qualities we practice become the way we deal with what life throws at us. One time Prabhupada said Ravi Shankar is so good at sitar because he's been practicing for 1,000 lifetimes. So yes, we get good at what we practice. Now, let's think about our lives. If I'm always becoming upset, then I get really good at being upset. If I'm always becoming angry, I become really good at being angry. If I'm very sarcastic, very critical, I say a lot of nasty things about people, I can get really good at it. Actually, you could make money if you had a radio show doing it. You could get really good at it. But if you practice appreciating people, complimenting people, if you practice controlling your anger, if you practice humility, forgiveness, and so forth, you start to get good at that. So the point of this quote is, whatever we do on a consistent basis, we get good at it, and it becomes our programming, and it becomes natural to respond to life in that way. So let's say, for example, somebody's doing something, they're not doing it well. It could be annoying. Maybe there's a reason they're not doing it well. Maybe they need help. Maybe your instructions weren't clear. Maybe they're just having a bad day. So you could approach it that way, and you could ask them, is there anything I can do to help, or what's going on? Or you could approach it with intolerance. Well, you're so stupid, why don't you do it correctly? And so we can see in our life that the way we respond to what's going on becomes a bit habitual because we practice that. So the good news is we can practice Krishna consciousness, we can practice Brahminical qualities, we can practice Vaishnava qualities. Now you might say, can I just develop all these qualities all of a sudden? No, because these qualities are inherent within us and they will manifest when we become Krishna conscious. But to practice them now is the road to becoming Krishna conscious. So I'm not that humble, but I can practice acts of humility. I could be more cooperative. I could serve devotees that maybe I have issues with. I could appreciate devotees that sometimes I have issues with. So that's my practice of humility. By practicing it, I get better at humility, and that opens my Krishna consciousness up, or it opens me up to advance more in Krishna consciousness. And so the path to humility is the practice of humility, because the practice of humility is essential or necessary for developing our Krishna consciousness. So I can practice it. I have the choice. I can do it. You can do it. We can all do it. And when we practice it, it starts to become the natural way that we interact with people. If I practice forgiveness, it starts to become the natural way that I deal with people. If I practice tolerance, it starts to become the natural way I deal with situations and people. It has to be practiced. So the serious thing, or the downside, is that when we practice the opposite, intolerance, resentment, anger, criticism, so forth, it just becomes the natural way we respond to things. And I'm sure you've seen that in your life, that sometimes whatever happens, we're just responding in an angry or a mean way or a critical way or a resentful way because we practice it so much. It becomes kind of a default setting. So wouldn't it be good to have a default setting that's just the opposite? Yeah, it would be good. And we can do that, but we have to practice it. So yes, practice makes perfect. So let's remember, whatever we practice, we're going to get really good at.